Welcome back to Ask the Attorney. I'm Amy Rao-Mohan along with Kevin Kennedy from the Kennedy Law Firm, and already we've gotten a wide array of questions.
All the lines are lit up. That's great. We love it, and just keep calling. We'll try to get to you.
737 plus 737-7587. We've got Myrna here. Hi, Myrna.
Hi. I've got a question about adhesion contracts. I seem to be reading a lot of contradictory information. One book said it's a long-standing principle of contract law that adhesion contracts are not enforceable. And I don't know. Is the question there's no cut and dry rules in the code about what that is? I mean, is it up to the? In other words, if it weren't enforced, would it be because it doesn't meet the like 4 steps or whatever it is that of adhesion contracts?
Are you familiar with the term adhesion contracts?
I've heard contracts of adhesion. But honestly, I don't. It was like contracts 1, and I don't remember it.
Yeah, I think you got us. I think this might be the first time that we really weren't familiar with it. But I would say
I think they are contracts that, like, it's one of those where there's no consideration. It's not at arm's length.
It will fail if that's the interpretation of it. And the question, sometimes you may have to give us just a little more information to answer. But in every contract, you can have it all written out, but if you didn't have those magic words for and in consideration of, it failed. No consideration. Contracts 101. I've used that many, many times, and I've had some skilled lawyers, they write 14 pages and they miscalculate and miss one little important but necessary essential element. And see, great lawyers will take that document and then go through the basics. Some of the lawyers have checklists. Does it have consideration? Is it mutually agreeable? Was there a meeting of the minds? If we're trying to break that contract, we're always saying, golly, it didn't have a meeting of the minds. That's why you're saying you don't owe this. And people come in all the time, make contracts, and they want to break them. There needs to be a legal basis. If it's fraud, if it's misrepresentation, we can try to break them then.
But it would be worth looking at Tennessee cases or whatever state you're looking in to see how they've interpreted these types of contracts.
Yes.
So, all right, we've got Dan here. Hi, Dan.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Go ahead, Dan.
Talking on the cell phone. I just have a question and a couple of comments. Young lady, are you an attorney also?
I am. I used to be at Channel 5 as a reporter and then went to law school after that, and I practice now as I do mostly civil litigation.
Well, you sure are knowledgeable for being a young person. I'm telling you, I'm really impressed.
I am too. You and I both agree.
I may look younger than I really am.
And what she was always attributing that to is all this time she spent with me. Can you testify?
That's true. Kevin C. Kennedy.
But she's really good, though. I totally agree with you.
I guarantee you it has a lot to do with it because my son picked up my old job when I retired, and he didn't think he could do it, and he run around working with me about 22 years, and he's the top of the line at his trade. But I'm mostly calling him. I don't have any problems. I'm pretty fortunate, but I'm an old guy. But I just got to tell you, you're something, man. I really like you. You're really a nice guy.
Well,
you got your stuff together.
You are so kind.
Your mama, your education was well spent money. And
Thank
that's all
you.
I got to say.
Thank you. Thank you. Those are the nicest, warmest comments. My mother's gone on to be with the Lord and my father, but they would really appreciate those comments. My dad was a barber, and he used to set me up. And I became a champion public speaker in the 4th grade. I won the school and won the district, won the state, and that was the prelude to my legal career. And my mother helped me write the speeches. And so even when I was in the law school, got a standing ovation in my 3rd year of moot court. Hello, come in. I was on a roll. And that judge up there, we were at the last, and he didn't really know how to interpret for me. My classmates were going, reading, standing at the podium, and I broke out. He said, "Wow, Mr. Kennedy," he could have been really critical or praiseworthy. He said, "You were almost evangelical." And so they gave me a standing ovation, and it was great. And my career has gone on. And thank you for those comments. That's what helps push people like me and Amy to keep doing this, to help some people along the way. Your words of encouragement are well received, and thank you.
Well, thanks so much for calling. We've got Wyatt here. Hi, Wyatt. Wyatt, are you there? All right, well, Wyatt, if you need to call back, try calling back on that line, 737 plus 737-7587, and we will get back to you. I think we've got Brian. Hi, Brian.
Hey.
Hi, Brian. What can we do for you?
Hey,
Attorney Kennedy. You can probably remember me. I called in a couple times before.
That's great. We love to hear from you.
Yeah, you know, I'm Mark Scruggs' friend.
Yes.
He's helped me out, you know, a little matter. Boy, he, from the last time I saw him, then it was like a long time later, his fees had increased, but his prominence has increased. I saw him sitting on an attorney with that Vanderbilt, you know, case. With,
yeah.
And I was shocked to see him there, and he's gotten really big. I was driving down, I think it was Lebanon Pike the other day, and I looked to my right, and I said, well, there's Kennedy Law Firm.
Yes.
Oh, check it out.
Yeah. Do you have a question for us, Brian?
Yeah. I was going to say, my question is, if you remember the movie, the guy, he was doing all those fake checks, and Leonardo DiCaprio was the star, and he was going all over the world. And at one point, he was dating a girl, and her dad was a lawyer, and he wanted to be a lawyer, but he didn't want to go to law school. He was super smart. So he just went
Catch Me If You Can,
and he just studied for like 3 days or 4 days.
Yes.
And he passed the bar. And I had a friend who said he actually knew a guy who did that too. And
that's
that
what
was
Kevin and I did.
Illinois. And he said, yeah, you knew another guy in Tennessee who did that. And you don't technically have to graduate from law school, but if you have the guts and the smarts and you study, you can go and take the bar exam just like that if you wanted to.
Well, you know, Amy and I was talking about that earlier. Tennessee years ago allowed people to take the bar exam without a professional legal education. That's not the case today. So it's heavily regulated. The Tennessee Supreme Court, it's required that you've got as a prerequisite to graduate from the law school, to take the bar exam and pass the bar exam. My oldest son is a doctor. He never made a B. I said, I guarantee you he could sit in that prep course and he could pass the test because he knows how to take tests. But no, they won't let anyone do that. There's plenty of people out here that's plenty smart enough, but we've got rules that they require, and the law schools are going to mandate that.
Right. We've got Wyatt back, I think. Hey, Wyatt.
Yes.
Yeah, what can we do for you, Wyatt?
Yes, I'm dealing with back support, and I've been disabled for about 10 years. And I was drawing SSI.
Okay.
And after my wife started drawing her retirement, they cut mine off.
All right.
And I want to know, what could I do I have always tried to pay her money, but she don't want to take that much. She want more than, and I don't have it.
Right. Now, you know, child support, usually when we're into a confrontation, she has gone to the district attorney and filed because you're behind, and so you need to hire a lawyer, and they'll have a mediator, they'll have a magistrate, or they'll have a judge. And again, your lawyer is going to advocate, this is what our income is. There is, and usually the district attorney, once he sees your facts and sees her facts, if there's some negotiating in the law, we can get it done there. That's why you say, well, golly, what does a lawyer really make a difference? Because the law is the law, and if you've got this one child and you're paying this, believe me, we see every different amount of child support there is imaginable. And that's why we sometimes call it a deviation from the child support guidelines, because that's where great lawyering makes a difference.
All right, we've got Martha here. Hi, Martha.
Yes.
What can we do for you?
I have been paying a small fee for insurance for many, many years, and I won't say the company name or anything like that, but there are many institutions that sell a fabulous sounding insurance policy.
Yes.
Just a couple of dollars. And recently, a former insurance salesman told me that I have been wasting my money for all these years because these little premium policies for $50,000 for just a couple of bucks a month, they never pay off.
Yeah.
So I am wondering how can really impressionable, fabulous companies, any kind of really fabulous business promote through your acquaintance with them.
I totally agree, and I listen to you. Remember, companies are in the business of making money. Remember, you go to any city in America, the biggest buildings are owned by the insurance company. They get those monies off little people, just like paying some. So again, that would be a classic case for you to file an official complaint with the Tennessee Trade Commission, the Federal Trade Commission, Tennessee Consumer Affairs, and they can do an investigation. I didn't say you got any money, but I did say that will cause them a lot of grief. And so they're willing many times to take the risk of these lawsuits because they say, hey, if we collected $3 or $5 off 1 million people, we could afford to pay off the squeaky door. So I don't like it, you don't like it, but that's why we have a commissioner of insurance, and you can file a complaint. You're one of those that have been taken advantage of perhaps, and you may not know until you actually die, and then it's up to your heirs to say, hey, they won't pay.
All right, we've got Harry here. Hi, Harry.
Hi.
How can we help you tonight?
How's everyone?
Great.
Good.
I have a question about survival of an implied easement. I think that's the right terminology.
Okay.
I live on a piece of residential property which has been an established property for maybe 80 years.
Okay.
There was nobody here when I moved out here. Now there is.
Yes.
So my driveway is formerly a county road, which was abandoned.
Okay, I'm with you.
And the property reverts equally to each side, each owner on each side. That driveway, because of construction over the decades, bridge culverts, drainage, is the only access, the only entrance and exit from this piece of property.
Okay.
Now, I have been for many years, 38 years, using that as a driveway openly and notoriously, and
It's good, and I think where you are, you should. 37 years, you're past
any adverse possession.
I think so. You know, there's a 7-year, there's a 14-year, there's a 21-year. You're past all of those, and they cannot landlock you. So if they say we're going to cut this off, they cannot do that.
Well, there was a cluster development come in the mid '80s on one side, and we now share that boundary line.
Okay.
And we had a little push, a little push and pull a few years ago about what we could do and couldn't do, and what they realized ultimately was that they had let at least one of those time marks pass.
Yes.
So I've been, and I don't want to own it. I just want to coexist peacefully.
Yeah.
And which we do.
Say praise the Lord for that. That's great.
Now, my question is,
hit it.
I'm not getting any younger, and one of these days somebody's going to come along and make me an offer I can't refuse.
Yes.
Will the privilege of coming and going through that driveway, even though two wheels are on someone else's property, expire?
Here's my professional opinion. As long as it's being openly used continuously and it hasn't been abandoned, I say that you got a great argument, and the people you sell to has a great argument. Again, I don't want you to make a whole bunch of representations when you go to sell. You can explain this is the situation and move right on. That's the way I would handle it.
All right, we've got William. Hi, William.
Hey, how you doing tonight?
Great.
Good.
What can we do for you?
Well, I just have a question. My wife passed away a little over a year ago. The insurance, her life insurance paid off, but I'm just wondering that the death certificate had accidental on it.
Okay.
Did the insurance have to pay for the accidental death too, or just the life insurance?
Here's where you are. A lot of policies only pay when it's accidental death. So that's why you should get a copy of that and look at the policy and see what are the terms under that policy. And you can always ask the insurance, say, will you show me what the clauses are and what governs this? And so if it's life insurance, sometimes they have double indemnity, meaning on an accidental death, if it's a $50,000 policy, they pay $100,000. If you don't advance your rights, they can be lost. It's called laches. We've talked about it before. You can't sit on your rights. If someone runs through my fence tonight and I've had a bunch. I own lots of fences. And I have to advance my rights against the insurance company of that car. If I just say, well, I'm going to wait for them to fix the fence, my horses are out, guess what? I have to advance. If I don't, then the claim will be barred forever. Let the statute run. And apparently we've got a question about your horses coming up. But we're going to take that after the break. Call that number, 737 plus 737-7587. Do it.